Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here to do a film review of Chhichhore, starring Sushant Singh Rajput. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do film reviews and trailer reactions to Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam cinema. Okay, I've been looking forward to this film because I love Sushant Singh Rajput. I really admire him as an actor. He's had some interesting choices, some really different movies. His last one, Kedarnath, was really like a disaster epic and a love story. He didn't get a lot of attention because of the debut of Sara Ali Khan. He was the reason that this film came on my radar, but the other reason is this director. Nitesh Tiwari gave us Dangal, which was such a good film. He also did Kill Bill, which I enjoyed. I know it wasn't that big of a hit, but I did enjoy a lot of Kill Bill. It was so stylistically interesting, and I really liked the bromance and all that kind of stuff in that film. Now, he also was one of the writers of the screenplay, Barely Ki Barfi. He did not direct that film, but that was such a great script, so really admire that film as well. This film, the title means flippant, at least that's what Wikipedia tells me. And having watched the film, I don't know if that was the best title. I don't know if it's gonna signal to people what this film is about, if they have never seen the trailer, to kind of know that it's, to me, if I had to describe it in an elevator to somebody, it's like a cross between Student of the Year and Three Idiots. I mean, it has plot elements of both films in that you have a reunion of classmates from college, some years in the future, and then they're remembering events from their college days. You have this strong group of friends. Like Three Idiots, you have the pressure of engineering college and ragging on freshies versus, the senior kids. So there's a lot of elements kind of all blended together from those films. Not the big song and dance numbers like Student of the Year, nothing like that. And a much more tamped down love story, which was a huge element in Student of the Year, the big love triangle, nothing like that. It's more the story of friends and how friendships form and become so close in college, and a lot of the nostalgia about those best college days. One thing that also intrigues me about this is that my next door neighbor went to college with the director. I believe the director was a year younger than my neighbor Seth, and the character of Derek was one of my neighbor Seth's good friends in college. He hasn't seen the movie yet, so I'm hoping to talk to Seth about it soon once he's seen it. From a news article that I read, an interview with the director, he is not a character in the film. He was an observer of all of these crazy characters in his college in Hostel 4. And I'm really going to be curious how realistic it is to what was remembered. Well, I reassured Seth by text that his friend Derek comes off as one of the best characters in the film. He's played by Dahir Raj Basan. And I'm not sure that I have seen any other film that he has done, but he is the one actor at the end of the day that I'm like, I need to see everything else that this guy has done because he was awesome. Looking him up, he was the villain opposite Rani Mukherjee in Mardani, which I still haven't seen. He did a web series. It seems like he's had smaller parts, and I know I'm not going to say that this was necessarily a lead, but Sushant's character is a freshman, and Derek, played by Tahir, is one of the seniors. And he is the hero that Sushant is looking up to. The cool guy smoking the cigarettes and all of that. We have Varun Sharma, who I have to admit, sometimes he's been a little bit much for me. Like in Dilwale and other films, it was a bit much. But you know what? I really loved him in this film. His character's name is Sexa. You can kind of guess what he's all about from that. From the opening scenes, he has such a force of personality in the entire film. So infectiously full of fun. He was great. So I never thought I would say that, but Varun Sharma was great, and I really enjoyed him in this movie. Basically, all the supporting characters are so great. Naveen Polishetty, who I just saw in Agent Sai, the Telugu detective film, he plays a character named Acid, who is always swearing. So it was super fun, like, hey, I just saw him and leading his own movie, and here he is, part of this big Hindi ensemble. He was great, but he didn't have as big a part as Tahir as Derek. Rounding out the friends, we have Tushar Pandey as Mummy, Saharsh Kumar Shukla as Bavda. Prateik Babbar plays Raggy, who is kind of, you know, every college there has to be the big stuck-up baddie on the other side. And then Shraddha Kapoor is Maya, and she was really good, especially more in the scenes where they were supposed to be in their 40s than she was when she was just a college student along with the other kids. That's one really good thing about the screenplay. We're seeing parallel scenes. There's a theme from something in the present, and then we see the corresponding, like it's a line of dialogue or a situation or something that leads us back and forth from the present to the college days. Now, in the present day, Shraddha Kapoor's character Maya and Sushant's character are divorced, and their son has a medical crisis, which brings all of the reunion other friends together, which of course leads you to think about when Rishi was in the hospital and Student of the Year. That's, again, like I'm saying, there's some things that are the same, but some things that are different. Now, with what happens to their son, I'm not sure that reminiscing about college days would be the first thing that me as a parent would come to mind too in that situation. But when you get to the end, there's a reason why Sushant as a father wants to tell the story about losers who become winners. You know, losers who are labeled that by other people, and then one contest, one test, one whatever is not enough to shape your entire life. I really admired the message of the movie. I don't think that in America I can completely relate to the pressure of 1 million people trying to get into only 10,000 spots in engineering college. I just don't think there's a same kind of equivalent. It would be like trying to get into Harvard or something here. However, that pressure that kids are feeling to get into the right school, to be perfect, there's certainly a lot of mental health issues that we're dealing with. And I have to admit that I related in the movie much more to the parent figures of Sushant and Shraddha than the kids. I mean, that's more the state that I'm in right now. I just sent my youngest to college, and it's scary. Kids are under a lot of pressure these days, maybe more than we can imagine that we went through as parents when we were in the same situation. I really enjoyed the film. However, here are my caveats. Number one, there's a big sports competition between different hostels, similarly like Student of the Year, but different. But it went on really long. I mean, really long. And there was an emotional impact in the first half hour of the film where I was sitting there crying in my seat. I was crying already in the first half hour. And I wasn't sure that when I get to the end of the film that I again experienced that kind of emotional impact to the conclusion of the story, because we had gone through so much sports stuff. Like, I'm not a sports ball kind of person to begin with, but it was a lot. That's where the pacing lagged in the second half. I loved the introduction of all the characters. I loved the friendship bonding in the first half. That was fantastic. Another caveat that I have is whoever the makeup person is, not every man has a receding hairline when they get into their 40s. I watched Anupama Chopra's video review before I went to see the film, and that she commented on the same thing, and that's all I could think about as I was looking at everybody's wig, because it's like all the men had hair like back to here when they were in their older incarnations. I'm like, please. There's a lot of 40-something men who look better than they did when they were a kid. You just put some gray in their hair and call it a day. You don't have to make their hair go back to here, every single one. Okay. But that is a quibble. I thought the performances were really good, especially though for me the standout was Tahir in the Derek role. I thought he was so good, and I want to see more of him. But I really thought everybody was good. All around, all the supporting players were good. And sometimes I see films and everything is so uneven, and this is one where everyone was equally talented, equally funny, and I really admired all the actors, and I didn't feel like, okay, there's too many characters, I can't keep track. It wasn't like that at all. I thought that was all balanced and perfect. I think if you grew up in India and you went to college, I think you'll experience a lot of nostalgia from this film. That's something, me as an outsider, it's not exactly the same, but I still really enjoyed it. And I think it's a film definitely worth seeing. So if you have seen the film, I would love to know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT, subscribe to Pardesi Reviews, and if you hit the bell when you do subscribe, then you'll never miss a film review or trailer reaction. And if I can, I'm hoping to get Seth, who was one of the classmates of this Hostel 4 from this college, get his reaction after he sees the film and see if it was true to his experience or how much was fictionalized or what. I'm really curious about someone who lived it with the director, what his reaction is going to be. So I will hopefully report back on that.